The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Pairin Srisom. Chapter 19. Prize Day. The summer holiday was approaching. The teacher always left slower than over, for he wanted the school to do well on Prize Day. His stick was seldom idle now, and Mr. Dobbin's Pressmen were very active ones too. Although he cried under his felt hair, apparently hairless and shiny head, he had only raised middle age and showed no signs of weakness. As the great day approaches, he seemed to take a pleasure in pushing the less miserable. The result was that the smallest boys spent their days in the terror, and their nights in planning revenge. At last they hit up on a plan which promised a glorious victory. As the teachers scolded and the science painters howled, the boys asked the science painter soon to help them. He agreed at once, because he, too, disliked to teach. Mr. Dobbins would go on a visit to country in the field day, and there would be nothing to interfere with the plan. Mr. Dobbins always prepared himself for great occasions, such as Prize Day, by having a little too much to drink, and the side painter boy said that he was confident that he could carry out his part of the plan, while the teacher was having a chance left in his chair. Then he would have him awake at the right time and hurry away to school. The great actions arrived at 8 in the evening. The school was brightly lighted and decorated with flowers. The teacher sat in his armchair up on a platform with his blackboard behind him. He was very cheerful. In front of him were rows of chairs, occupied by the most important people of town and by the prince of the populace. To his left was another platform, up on which were seated the slaves who were to take part in the exercise of evening. The rest of the school was filled with the other pupils. The exercise began. A very little boy stood up and sleepily recited, "You scurry apex one of my egg, to speak in public on the stage," etc., accompanying himself with the prayerfully active and stiff motions which a measure might have made. Supposing that measure to be a trifle out of order, a little shamefaced girl murmured, "Mary has a little laugh," etc., was loudly applauded, and sat down blushing and happy. Tom Sawyer stepped forward with vain confidence and rushed into the "Give me liberty or give me death" speech with fine folly, and spoke down in the middle of it. The teacher thought and did complete the dishes. Tom staggered for a time, and then the tribe utterly defeated. There was a wake, a thump and approach, but it died early. The boy stood on the burning dock, and other masterpieces of recitation followed. Then there were reading exercise and a spelling fight. The small Latin class received with credit. The highlight of the evening organelle. Compositions by the young ladies now came. Each in her turn stepped forward to the edge of the platform, crushed her toes, held up the paper, which was tied with pretty ribbon, and paused to read with special attention to expression and punctuation. The first prize was won by a black-haired young lady with a mouthful of peaches. Her composition on Invention was considered the finest effort of the evening, and the mayor of the village, after the leveling, the prize to her made a long speech in which he said that it was the finest thing he has ever listened to, and that it was worthy of the country's greatest statement. Now the teacher put his chair outside, turned his back to the audience, and began to draw a map of America on the backboard, on which to exercise the girly class, but this is very because his hand was angry. A low laugh ran round the room. He knew what was wrong, and set himself to right it. He rubbed off the eyes and removed them, but the router grew louder, and with good reason. There was a storeroom above, and the entrance to it was just above his head. Down through this opening came a cat, hanging from a string tied round her body. She had a rank fencing about her head adjust to prevent her from making a noise. As a slow descent, she crawled upwards and seized the string with her claws, then swung downwards and crowded at the air. The router grew louder and louder. The cat was within 6 inches of the teacher's head. Down a little lower, and she seized his felt hair with her desperate claws, held it, and was snatched up into the storeroom in an instant, with her prize still in her possession, and half the light brushed from the teacher's hairless head, for the size Prater's boy had covered it with gold paint. That broke up the meeting the boys had had. Their revenge